Hey there, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kayla. And today we are going to be talking about the Grand Floridian Resort and Spa at Walt Disney World.
Ooh, it sounds you said it in your upper echelon of society.
Yeah, that was me trying to be Gossip Girl, actually.
So the Grand Floridian Resort is beautiful. It is one of my favorites. If you just took it resort, I love it. I love
because you're a bougie bitch.
I'm a bougie bitch. The Victorian, it's got this Victorian era luxury kind of inspired by the 20th century Florida, right? I would say they even consider it their flagship resort, right? I mean, it's probably the one that to me feels the single most upscale. So if you're looking, still not a Four Seasons. Let's be clear about that. But
absolutely not.
You walk in and it feels grand, right? Lots of white, lots of marble, lots of, there's a piano in the middle of the lobby, and often in the evening someone's there playing it, right? It feels very, very upscale. So, but let's talk about the rooms. So it's a pretty small resort in terms of, very walkable to the main lobby. There's different buildings, so it is not all one building like some deluxe resorts are. But great views. Some of the rooms you have theme park view rooms, and all of them just recently renovated. You have some nods to Mary Poppins.
They're so cute.
Yeah. In the rooms, and they do sleep 5, right? So you're generally going to have 2 queens and then a sleeper sofa, a twin. So you do have club level because it's a deluxe resort, of which you actually recently stayed at, right?
I did a theme park view club level room. I was like, we're ballin'. It was for one night, so it wasn't like I was staying a week. But yeah, it was really nice. I think it's one of the biggest club level lounges too on property.
I think
it's
so.
Multiple floors, which is really cool, and it overlooks the lobby, which you're talking about people playing the piano. Every time I talk about the Grand Floridian, I always have to mention John Stamos. If you watched Full House, this is the resort that John Stamos, Uncle Jess, sat down, and Jesse, why did I say Jess? Uncle Jesse sat down and played the piano, and it was fantastic.
So they also have villas, 1, 2, 3 bedrooms and studios. So that's also an option. Also right on a lake, right? So easy, and on the monorail. So easy access to Magic Kingdom. You actually now have about a mile
walk.
Yeah, there's a mile pathway walk to Magic Kingdom. So it is going to take you maybe 20 minutes from room to front gate of Magic Kingdom, or maybe even a little more, depending on who you have tagging along,
and how hot it is.
You also can take a boat back and forth between Magic Kingdom and the Grand Floridian. So you do have options and to quickly get there, and they do pump the music through to watch the fireworks from the lagoon in the evening. So some nice little extras there. In terms of things to do, I do love the pool. It's very small because it just matches it's not a huge resort, right? So it feels small, but there's a beautiful waterfall and a slide and, a great pool bar with food.
They have fantastic dining that I think people don't realize. So their quick service is fantastic. They've got like a build your own salad bar and sandwiches. Like it's a really good spot. They've got Grand Floridian Cafe, which I think is probably the most underrated dining location on property. I don't know if you've eaten there, but Brian and I ate there a couple of years ago because we decided we wanted to have dinner and we were at Magic Kingdom. And I was like, well, let's just see where there's a reservation available. And that's where we ended up. And it was one of the best steaks that I've had on property. And I think we had shrimp and grits, and it was just so good and so quiet. It was really nice.
It is underrated, I think, because it is more of a average menu, right? I'll say I don't, and so I think you have so many other options there that people aren't necessarily going. Which the nice part of that is you can often quickly last minute grab a reservation for there if you're not a ridiculously large party. But then you just named, we had the pool bar, the quick service. We have the Grand Floridian Cafe, we have
1900 Park Fair.
1900 Park Fair, which, if I'm being honest, so that has always been a character meal, right? And it's just reopened post COVID, which is probably the longest thing to reopen since COVID. And they did do a little retheme there where now, and you can meet Tiana in her Bayou outfit, not her dress.
Mm-hmm.
You meet Cinderella in her dress. Mirabelle is there, and then Aladdin is there.
What a solid lineup.
It is a solid lineup. So I went recently, though. The food was pretty awful, and it was very chaotic. Actually, it felt more chaotic than
Chef Mickey's.
Chef Mickey's. And if I'm being, I mean, I think too, though. I mean, my kids aren't young anymore, right? So we were literally just going to experience it, and I just couldn't get over the chaos, right? And it just feels rushed. I mean,
I felt that way when I dined there before. I felt it, to me, 1900 Park Fair feels like you're in a convention center. Like it feels like they literally just like closed off walls of a conference room and were like, okay, we're actually going to make this a restaurant.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
So cool, really cool lineup of characters, but
most of those you can't meet anywhere else at Walt Disney World, can you?
Not Tiana in her Bayou, not Mirabelle, I don't think. And then Aladdin you can, but not in that outfit that he's in. So if that's like important. And then they have Narcoossee's, right, which is a signature restaurant, also somewhat themed inside to Mary Poppins, but awesome menu, great food.
And you're out on the water there, so it's like a great view.
No,
right?
No, that's the other one. Narcoossee's is in the main building.
Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me.
No, I know. What's the name of the other one?
Citricos.
Citricos is out over the water. Yeah.
I think this is the location, the resort with the most dining locations.
Yeah.
Probably
and I think
on property.
That flies with their like flagship resort type style, right? So Citricos also a signature restaurant. That is probably one of the last locations I've never eaten at.
Well, the next time we go, I guess we just have to. Well, there's two. There's two at Grand Floridian. I know you haven't been to Victorian Albert's.
I have not been to Victorian Albert's, but that's the last one, right? And
they've seen your name and they're like, we're actually not extending an invite to him.
I know. I mean, I want to go, but I don't want to spend $250 a person. I can't sit somewhere for, what is it, 12-course meal?
It's a lot, yeah.
So Victorian Albert's is a like top of the line experience.
It's invitation only. That's their like shtick. It's really, you call and say you'd like a reservation, and then they say, we'd like to invite you. But like that's their thing, is that it's invitation.
Right.
They're vetting their clientele.
And, like it's the one with like 17 different place settings and 12 different courses, a couple $100 a person. It's
a harp just like in the middle of the room.
And you have to, I think, like definitely a dress code, like jackets,
Yeah. So I've been inside. Have I told you this? I've been inside of Victorian Albert's.
Yeah.
I think maybe we've talked about this on the podcast. I was picking up a friend from work. He worked at Grand Floridian, and a bell services guy was like, hey, I'm bored. I'll take you on a tour of the resort. And so we got to go inside the restaurant because it was like lunchtime, like they were still prepping. But it's really, if you are someone who has dietary restrictions and you feel like you can't do fine dining, because I do know that is a lot of fine dining places are like, this is our menu, and like, too bad, so sad. If you want something different, we're not doing that for you. They are so good at making sure not just dietary restrictions in terms of like, what are you allergic to, but like, are there specific foods you won't eat? They are making sure that they've got the pronunciation of your name right. Like this is like fancy.
Well, if I'm paying $250 for a meal, it better be.
I mean, I've paid that price for a meal before, and it was not that, like, it was good service, but it wasn't the sort of like detail that they go to, I guess. Lots
of dining options, lots of different budget entry type, levels, and a beautiful resort.
Especially at Christmas. That is where their life-size gingerbread house is, that they actually sell gingerbread out of, which is really fun to experience.
Around Easter, they have all of
The Easter
the
eggs.
Easter eggs that they make out of chocolate, and like
Yeah.
that's amazing to see. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. It also has one of the best spas on property.
And it's where the wedding pavilion is located
Correct.
as well.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot, and there's also a convention center at Grand Floridian. So there are a few convention centers across property. The one at Grand Floridian is not nearly as big as some of the others, but it does exist. It's on the other side of the property from the wedding pavilion. But you will, if you want to see a bride, like there's something about seeing like a bride and groom having their photos taken, and like if you're there at the right time of day, you'll get to see them standing on the stairs, getting their pictures. Like
Well, if you're there at the
it's
right time of
fun.
day, you will see the Cinderella carriage with the
Oh yeah.
whatever those people are called that like the mice turn into, and then white
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful horses pulling it, right? So
Yeah.
for the wedding pavilion, so that's amazing too. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong staying at the Grand.
You can't. But it also, I mean, it comes at a price. It
Yeah,
is without a doubt the most expensive property or the most expensive resort on property. You are getting definitely an elevated experience above what you would get at a deluxe resort. But still, if you are a Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons type of person, it still may not be on par with like what you're expecting in terms of a level of service. But I will say it's the closest you're going to come to that level of service staying at a Disney owned property.
right, right.
Yeah. I think it's a great place. I think it's,
It's got my favorite lounge too. We didn't even talk about
oh, we didn't talk about
the
it.
Enchanted Rose Lounge. That's a wonderful
Yeah.
little bar lounge area.
Yeah. I have not, there are things at Grand Floridian that I really miss. Like they haven't brought back their tea, their like afternoon tea, which I thought was so much fun. And then before that lounge existed, I loved their band
Yeah,
because that was the space where they had a band. They had a full, like, I don't know how many piece band come out. And I think it was like 8-piece band and perform out on this balcony all night long. And it was, I don't know, it just set the mood, between the piano player. Like, this is going to be a really silly comparison. If you're looking for a resort that feels like you walked into Nordstrom, this is it.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm a Seattle girl, so all things in life for me are Nordstrom. But that is really like I think the best way to like compare it. If you've ever walked into a Nordstrom and if you feel like you don't belong, that's probably how you'll feel in the Grand
it's,
Floridian.
it's true. It's a good point.
Yeah. But it's a great spot. I love it. I was really thankful to have the opportunity to stay club level theme park view room. Like it was probably a once in a lifetime thing for me to do. And I recognize that. But if this is a once in a lifetime trip for you and you really want to like ball out, this is the place to do it for sure. But if this doesn't sound like it's for you, that's okay. We have many other resorts. So don't worry, there's going to be one that is the right fit for you. This one might be too hot or too cold, and we're going to find you the one that's just right. Did you,
Mm.
that was a
I got,
Goldilocks reference.
I got you. I got you.
Okay, cool. So keep listening. Check out other episodes. Our goal is really to help you figure out the best resort for you, make an informed decision the next time you go to Walt Disney World. And until next time, let's just go.